Elliot. This is out front.
And I'm Elliot's mum, Carla Grant. We live in Prospect, Nova Scotia, and we want you to hear our story.
We have to start at the beginning. Someone to care for, to be there for. I have you too.
I want to tell Elliot's story because Ian and I are parents of this beautiful little boy, and we're so proud of and always told everyone how he knew all of his letters and numbers when he was 1.5.
I have you too.
I have to take off your red shirt.
No!
Elliot, I have to take off your red shirt.
I want to tell Elliot's story
Time to take off.
because he's such an amazing little kid. And when people look at him in the middle of one of his meltdowns and just don't understand that it's not that he's choosing to be bad, it's that he doesn't have the capacity to understand what's going on around him. It's so painful.
Just shake it.
No, we have to do the wall.
No.
I want to tell Elliot's story because even as an educated healthcare professional who spent a lot of time with kids, I was the mother of a child who had Asperger syndrome, and I didn't know it. He was incredibly smart and very high maintenance and maybe a little bit quirky, but it took someone on the outside to say, you know, there might be something up with Elliot that you don't know about. Just because I was ignorant, I'd never heard the word. I didn't know what autism was. And I would have been one of those parents in the superstore who looked at a screaming 4-year-old who was throwing himself on the ground and said, oh, my child would never do that. And now that I've spent the last 5 years dealing with Elliot, that I would never say that. Maybe he has autism. Maybe he has a silent disability that you can't see.
Where are we?
We're in the parking lot.
In the parking lot. Do you like parking lots?
Yes, and that's the Subaru. And look, and I see a Ford Focus right over there. Can we go see the Ford Focus?
Let's walk around and see what else we can see, okay?
We have to go find that red car.
What is it?
Let's go see what kind. That red car.
That's an Oldsmobile.
Elliot never had a blanket. His security objects have always been cars. When he was just over a year old, it was a little toy police Jeep that we lost one day and actually made a special trip back into Toys R Us to pick up a backup Jeep because we knew even at that young age that if we didn't have the Jeep, there was going to be chaos.
A Dodge Ram.
And
A Windstar.
and
Another Jetta. Oh, it's a Volkswagen off. Look, a Subaru.
When we go to parking lots, luckily over the last year, we've been working really hard on holding hands because it's always a safety concern with him that he loves cars so much, but doesn't see them as danger, as something that would drive or hit him. So, but you've never seen a happier kid than taking Elliot into a parkade, and will identify every vehicle. For him, it's winter wonderland walking through the parkade at the bay. He just loves them. He wanted a minivan toy for Christmas, and we looked and we looked and we looked, and they don't really make caravans in Montana dinky cars because no one else would buy them. But Elliot, like the 40 Econoline van that's parked down by our mailbox, is the reason we go get the mail every day. It has nothing to do with getting the mail or that there might be a package in there. It's that there's the 40 Econoline van parked by the mailbox, and it's always there.
That's a GMC.
And looks like her.
That's a Chevy Cavalier.
That's right. Okay, let's go inside. It's too cold.
We saw a Cadillac at the village with a spare tire, and the wheel was quite stiffy. It was a Chevy, a Ram,
Elliot's a beautiful boy. He's got curly, well now it's blonde hair, great big blue eyes. He's freckles on his nose, and he's lovely. And it's hard because he looks normal. He really, really does. And he talks so well that you expect him to be able to do these things, but he just doesn't get it. You know, and if you've said something to him 5 times, you need to take a step back and try and say it a different way, because obviously he doesn't understand the way that you're saying it. And it's also hard as parents in a social setting with Elliot, because, I can't count the number of times that we've had meltdowns in public, which are beyond the normal childhood tantrum.
Pick the red Jeep and the green Jeep. And you have 2 Jeeps, the red Jeep and the green Jeep.
We went shoe shopping, and I told Elliot that we were going to go buy some blue shoes to try and prepare him for what was going on. And I thought blue would be safe, and that I'd be able to find a pair of size 8 shoes in blue that he could wear. So we went into the shoe store. And it was just absolutely overwhelming for him. He's kind of got a foot thing anyways, and he likes to try on other people's shoes. But the pair that he wanted were size 2, like pink patent, just totally. There was just no way. And at that point, he went into this, it's almost like a beyond what he can handle. And I couldn't get him out of the store. He was screaming, hysterical, throwing himself on the ground. There were no blue shoes that were going to fit him. And the shoe salesperson just stood there, and I know she was looking at me like, can't you discipline your child? Can't you make him stop doing that? He's 4 years old. Just behave. What a terrible parent you must be is what I feel from her. But I can't stop it. I can barely even get him out of the store. And when you're in it, there's absolutely no coming back from it. You just have to help him through it. And then afterwards, he'll usually look up at me and he'll shake his head and he'll say, "Mommy, what happened to me? Mommy, what's happening to me?"
No. Okay, you can go. Go until you settle down. Go. Elliot, can you tell me about precipitation? Tell me about rain and snow.
Well, maybe just thunder.
Okay, tell me about thunder.
This huge, great, cumulonimbus cloud is the type of cloud that causes thunderstorms. Inside these clouds are little droplets of rain and little ice crystals. Whip the droplets and ice crystals around. The resulting friction creates full electrical charges.
Our nighttime ritual, which we've been trying to pare down, because at the end of a long, long day with Elliot, the last thing that you want is his what seemingly chaotic routine that doesn't make any sense to anyone but Elliot. But it's always supper, and then he gets his dress-up time, bath. We can only wash his hair on every second night, and it has to be whoever he decides to do it, either Ian or I, but he needs to make the decision. We play on the computer for a while. Same, it has to be his decision. His Dora games, his CD-ROMs of weather.
There's enough electrical charges. They drop together, and with great force, then they lightning. When lightning flashes across the sky, the surrounded air gets so hot that it explodes. It's thunder.
And then we come upstairs and you pee and you brush your teeth, and then you swish and spit and turn the cup upside down in the sink over the drain, so that the water that you spit out has to be mixed with the water coming from the tap before it goes down the drain. You have to get your sippy cup with an ice cube, and must not forget to take the sippy cup that's already in the room from the day before down, because if there's 2 cups in the room, you can't sleep.
Okay, lay down. Cut a on your pillow.
Where's my
Elliot, it's time for sleeping.
Where's my van?
I'm not sure. We'll have to look for it tomorrow.
But I want you to find it and bring it right back up.
I know that, but...
So we come up, we usually read a book. Sometimes he gives us the elements to the story. He'll do that more with Ian, not as much with me. With me, he likes to actually read a book. And then there's a hug and 2 secrets, one in each ear, left first, then right, and a kiss on the cheek, and then we say goodnight. But usually when he's asleep, he's down for the night, and we're thankful for that.
So now can we go to sleep?
I can't go through the story. Elliot and Tata are going in a very old General Motors, and it was a Ford General Motors, and it wasn't.
He's a really interesting story. I'm excited about what he's going to look like in 5 years from now. The kind of stuff that he's going to go on to do, I don't really know. I think Elliot will do well in math and science. You know, his new thing is to identify types of clouds. As we drive in to daycare every day, he tells me about the cumulonimbus clouds that come out of the smokestacks. Anything that he can memorize, he's going to do really, really well at. But he might not pass grade 12 English because he won't really know what Shakespeare actually meant when he said some of that stuff. If it's not on the page, it just doesn't exist. There's no gray in Elliot's world. It's all black and white. I don't know if he'll ever be able to hold a job. I expect to have my Elliot for a long time. I do. I think that it's going to be a lifelong support, financially, mentally, emotionally, that he's not going to leave home when he's 18, and that I'll know he'll be okay.
But today I'm blue.
I think he's always going to be quirky. And he might always sleep with a car.
There's a little bell ringing in me heart.
I don't know. I have high hopes for him.
There's a little bell ringing in me heart.
I think he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be just fine.
In me heart, there's a little bell ringing in me heart.
Good night, clocks, and good night, socks. Good night, little.
Or house.
And good night.
There's money.
You've been spotted.
That's money.
And good night.
House.
Are you reading your special Goodnight Moon book?
Yeah, now look. Good night, comb, and good night, brush. Good night, nobody, and good night, mush. And good night to the old lady whispering, hush.
Here, maybe have some flowers. Yeah.
Mommy's got flowers. Look. Can you walk like a big boy? Walk like a big boy.
Whoa.
This walking stuff is easy.
Good job.
That was 6, I think. Oh.
The key to planning a successful birthday party and retaining your own sanity as an adult is careful planning, good attention to the necessities of the event. Try to keep yourself relaxed and calm at all times. Streamers, balloons, party favorites, that sort of thing, and a couple of other ingredients. He smells like peas. Why do you smell like peas, I wonder?
He would like to give you. He's trying to give you a pee.
Ah! One for Dad. One for Dad. One for Dad. Ah. La, la, la. That off of there. Ah, la, la. Ah, la, la.